Post-scriptum, is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Post-scriptum is a first-person simulation shooter that provides an authentic World War II combat experience, focusing on historical accuracy, large-scale battles, a difficult learning curve, and an intense need for some destructible build. No, don't say that. And intense need for cohesion, communication, and teamwork. Yes, guys, this focuses on Operation Market Garden. That was the big airborne operation that was supposed to end the war by Christmas 1944, but it just didn't. Thousands and tens of thousands of parachutists leapt from planes all across. It's not Holland, Mac. It's the Netherlands. We'll just call it Windmill Shagger territory. And they landed and they had to take the bridges over the Rhine so that the armour could just fly across into the industrial heartland and take down them fucking Audi factories. It was a bit of a disaster because we didn't take any notice of the Tulip Shaggers' resistance, because they said that there was bloody Field Marshal Model who had a shit ton of Tiger tanks. There was a whole Panzer division there that was being rested, and so the kind of British and Americans and Poles just landed on them, and it was a massacre pretty much. But you know, it was successful in a lot of areas. You know, it gave a job to Sean Connery. Michael Caine got a good job out of it, so it wasn't all lost. But what's the game like, guys? What's the game like? Well, it's bloody hard. It's bloody hard, guys. This is not Call of Duty. This is not Call of Duty. You're not going to be running around like a complete bell end. Well, you are actually going to be running around. You're going to be running around a lot, but not like a bell end like you do in Call of Duty with shitty little maps the size of my, what's the word? Penis. In this, the maps are huge, and I mean huge, guys. They're bloody big, these maps. They're massive, and they need to be big because you're talking 40v40 here, not 10v10 or 8v8. 40v40, guys. It's put the bell down, Mac. It's 40v40, guys, with vehicles. And when you start the game, you have to join a brigade. Now, there's different types of brigades. They're not called brigades, they're called squads, I think. Are they even called squads? I don't know. If you want a professional review, go somewhere else. But basically, you join a group of other players, and you can have 9 in your little group. We'll call them squads. And they have a squad leader, and then you'll have a sniper. There'll be a couple of heavy machine guns, or well, light machine guns rather, with bipods. There's rifles. The guns are pretty shit, to be honest. There's pretty much hardly any machine guns. They're all bolt rifles, which kind of suck. You also get a secondary weapon, which is a pistol. But first come, first serve for the sniper rifle, the MP44 if you're German. I think that's for the squad commander. And you do get, that, like I say, LMGs that you can deploy and stuff like that. You also get grenades. You also get a water canteen, which is essential. That you have a good swig of that before you start running anywhere. I think it's full of vodka and coke. I'm not quite sure, but it makes you run like so probably has a bit chili in it as well. And it stops your stamina from running out while you're running around the battlefield like a prick. You also have phosphorus grenades, smoke grenades, and depending on the class that you choose when you go into your squads, because you can build logistics and you can actually build mortar stations, you can build places for people to spawn, you can build ammunition. Guys, it's everything that you would expect in a war. You can do it. There's vehicles as well, guys. So you've got your infantry, and you can have a few squads of infantry, 9 in each squad, like I said. You've got your logistics, which are going to put mortar stations and all that down, but you've got your vehicles. You've got tanks, you've got armoured cars, you've got Bren gun carriers, you've got half-tracks, you've got lorries to drive people around in, you know. You've got all of this kind of shit, and guys, they have pretty much nailed the authenticity of the driving of these things in the sense of your views. I mean, look at this. This is inside a tank. This is what the driver sees in a tank. The gunner isn't much better off, but the guy, the commander on the top, he sees everything. He can pop about his hatch and go, all right, and just have a good look around, you know, what the f***'s going on. Until the sniper blows his eyebrows off, then he's f***ed. So you have to be careful. Obviously, you wouldn't go into a war zone sitting on the top of your tank like a complete bell end. So you have to go back under your hatch once it kind of kicks off. But you still get very good vision from inside your hatch, and it's up to you to call out the enemies. You've got to spot the enemies. And this is where I found this game brutally hard. You see, I kept dying to nothing. It was like nothing. No, you're so used to playing these first-person shooters like COD and that, where you see the people who are killing you. But in this game, You die to hedges. I'm sure there's an army of squirrels, highly fucking armed, that are just gunning people down, because half the time I'm dying, I have no idea what the f***. If you can guarantee if 10 people are running over a field, I'm the one that gets fucking shot. But after playing it with a bunch of friends, well, I use the word friends in its loosest possible. After playing this with some people on Discord, it was so much better. We played for about 4 hours last night. It was just terrific fun, absolutely great fun. We had our own squad in tanks, we had armoured cars, and then we had infantry as well. And it was really, really different. It was much better. I actually killed people. I actually saw the enemy. I used to think the enemy was a fucking DLC in this until I started actually spotting them. But you know, once you get to learn the way, you know, the ways of the soldier, you get to understand what the icons are on the map, because the map is highly complex, which uses real military icons which make no fucking sense. For example, a vehicle is a rectangle. I mean, why don't you just draw a fucking car, you know? It's you know, a tank. Make a tank look like a tank with a little turret, you know? It's simple to draw. Once you learn the map and you learn where the enemy's probably going to be coming from, but you don't really know because you've got total freedom. You can go anywhere. There's none of this bullshit that you get in other games where, oh, you have run out of the area where you can fight. F off back in. I mean, obviously the map has edges. It has to have an edge, but it's so big. I've never even seen an edge of the map yet. There is loads of opportunities to flank. You have the whole map at your disposal pretty much, and the zones that you have to attack are strategic zones on the map that aren't on the edges of the map, so you can get right round them and you can surround them and you can come in and coordinate with your other squads that has voice over IP as well, so you can communicate with everybody or just your squad. And it's kind of the way the voice over IP works is that it has distance fading, so the further away you are, the harder it is to hear. It's terrific the way that it's done, and it is so authentic. The sounds are incredible.
12 o'clock. Good hit. Do it again. Oh, this guy's... Oh, there we go.
You literally feel like you're in a war zone. And when you see the tracer fire firing and you hear the Stukas diving and you hear the tanks booming, it's just fantastic, guys. Absolutely fantastic. It doesn't look brilliant, but you know, it's an indie game. This isn't a AAA game. It's not a AAA price either. But it just feels so good, and the combat, the gunplay is alright as well. It's not too bad. You have to be careful. You have to sneak around the place. You've got to work as a team. Teamwork is essential in this. Although going off on your own with a sniper rifle is fun, but essentially you want to stick with your mates and coordinate with your mates and attack with your mates, because if you start running off like trying to be Rambo, you're gonna die pretty much. It is so immersive though. You just get drawn into it no matter what you're doing, whether you're just on logistics, whether you're part of a squad, whether you're in a tank, whether you're in an armoured car. It's just like, it's like Squad really. That if you've played Squad, then you'll be right at home with this. It's very, very similar feel to Squad. It's very, very difficult. It has a very steep learning curve. Don't be put off with it. It's worth sticking to it, because I'm really enjoying the game, and when I first played it I didn't like it. I just found that it was just a running simulator dying to squirrels, but now I kind of get it. I see what's going on with it. I'd say the weakest part of the game is the vehicles, because there's no destructible terrain, so you can come across a little 2-foot garden wall and it'll stop your tank, because your tank can't knock it down, which is very frustrating. You know, you can also get stuck in trees and stuff that are just like ferns. You know, they're not really big trees. The physics is a bit wobbly. We were pulling a field gun that would stall, to be honest, and we just hooked it up to the back, and as we went around a corner it started bouncing around. We've lost vehicles in ditches that we couldn't get out. There's something not right with the vehicles, but they sound great, they look fine. Being inside the vehicles is so authentic. The gun sounds is awesome. It just needs some work on the vehicles. It's as simple as that. It's not just with the vehicles that there's some bugs. I was playing with the MG42, which is a machine gun that you have to use bipods. You pretty much can't use it without putting it on its little bipod, and half the time the bipod won't go down. Sometimes you've got to tap the button, then you don't tap the button, you push it down, then you wiggle the mouse around, and it's got me killed a few times when I've just wanted to slightly redeploy the gun and put it down, and then there's a guy suddenly appeared, and I'm trying to deploy the tripod, and it's just saying, nah, I'm not going to deploy this time. It's just, I'm not going to bother. It does need work. There are bugs in it.
Optimization wise, it ran fine for me. I haven't had any real problems, but I do know other people have had issues, so you know, be advised, it might run a little bit odd for you. The optimization is supposed to be getting fixed, so hopefully that'll happen sooner rather than later. Lag wise, there's a few, I sometimes get a little bit of lag on some of the servers, lag spikes and stuff. It's more noticeable when you're in a vehicle than it is when you're a soldier, but it does actually happen. There's also planes in this. You can't actually fly them, you can have them called in. They are AI controlled and they sound amazing, especially the Stuka, and when they're coming for you, you've got to take cover immediately. It is so freaking authentic, just listening to the whirl of the sirens as they dive bomb you. Same with the artillery. Artillery sounds great. When it starts coming in, it's just terrifying, and you get suppressed as well, and something about suppressing is just fantastic. I was suppressing a trench with an MG42 while my colleagues were storming it, and it was great fun. I didn't know what the hell I was shooting, probably rabid squirrels, but it just felt good to just open up with a machine gun through all the smoke onto an enemy position, knowing that there's enemies there somewhere. And suppression is very important in this game, because when someone's shooting at you, your screen starts to go black when you're being suppressed. So it's very handy if you're trying to get through a bottleneck the enemy's holding, just to suppress the shit out of it while your troops move forward under smoke cover. It's all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of game that you've got here. It's not like a Call of Duty, it's not like a Medal of Honor game like that. If they're the kind of games that you're used to playing, then you're probably not going to like this, because this is the exact opposite of them type of games. I'm not saying these type of games are better than them type of games, or that people who play these kind of games are somehow elite and the other people are noobs. Well, Call of Duty probably am. I like Battlefield 1942, I like Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, and you know, them games do take a lot of skill to do well at, as does this game. It's just, you know, apples and oranges really. They're nothing like each other. And if you like that up close and personal where you can see the enemy easily, you're probably not going to like this game, because half the time you're shooting pixels, or squirrels in my case. And that can be very frustrating. So bear that in mind before you buy. Because the game kind of releases today, you're probably going to get a few dickheads who will friendly fire team kill. We had a couple last night who just stole our lorry and ran everybody over, but I'll have to say there's not a lot of it happening, which is great news. So don't worry too much about that. People are getting banned for deliberate team killing, so you know, the devs seem to be on top of that. So there you go, guys. Post Scriptum is not for everybody, but it is definitely worth a buy.